Problem 8.4 is looking at the case of Rover Plus, a pet superstore that is currently selling the Royal brand, but is considering adding its own brand, Rover Plus, as well. The current circumstance here, if we look at the bottom part here where we will, let me highlight this section here as such, is that they're currently selling Royal bag for $20.99, and it costs them $12 to purchase this 50-pound bag, and they're currently selling 26,000 of these units. So if we look at this case, as far as our baseline profit, we have $20.99 less $12 per, and then multiply that by the 26,000. So currently they're making $233,740 in profit. Now, what they are contemplating is adding this Rover Plus, which is going to have the effect of eating into the sales, so to speak, of Royal. So if they maintain the price of Royal at $20.99, but then they offer this less expensive alternative, then they're going to lose some customers. The higher the price of Rover Plus, the less of the impact, but nevertheless is going to be at least 4,000 units of Royal that they're going to lose. So Royal's quantity demanded is going to fall, even though its price is not, relative to how inexpensive Rover Plus is. So a few ways that we could examine, okay, well, what price should they charge for Rover Plus, and is it going to put us in a situation where we're better off than we were before? Now, the thing is about Rover Plus is that its cost of Rover Plus is $9 per 50-pound bag. So that'll be something to keep in mind when we look at our total cost column here. So our total revenues can be found by just merely taking the price quantity combinations here. So if we, for Rover Plus, if we sell 36,000 at $9.99, we get $359,000 in total revenue, and our corresponding Royal revenue would be $20.99 multiplied by $12,000. So our total revenue number would be $611,520. Now, we're not interested in maximizing revenue, we're interested in maximizing profit. So in this profit calculation, we would have to also subtract what will go into these cells here, which will be our cost. So the cost of Rover Plus will be $9, and we'll lock that cell in here. Oh, sorry. And multiply, you have to hit the shift key there, by quantity. So here that would be $324,000. And for Royal, we have our unit cost here of $12, and then we want to multiply that by the corresponding quantity here. So notice that once we have all of our calculations in place, our profit goes to $143,520. So this price quantity combination for Rover Plus and Royal is less than the $233,740. So that's not something that we'd want to pursue. So it's just a matter of copying and pasting these formulas down, and we see that at least as we move forward here, that notice that just ignoring the first line for instance, our total revenue, so I haven't included the cost yet in these bottom items from rows 7 to 14. Our total revenue is maximized at $13.99 for Rover Plus. So that's when we're going to be having the most in terms of the top line of the income statement. And now as we copy this formula down, it's instructive to see that our total profit is greatest at $14.99, not $13.99, because we're able to substitute some of the sales toward Royal there. So by charging a higher price, we're able to we're able to increase relative to where we were previously, increase the number of units of Royal sold, which is a relatively more profitable one, versus Rover Plus. So ultimately, now if we had a larger scale in that, what we'd want to do is find, okay, well, one is our a larger number of options here. What's our maximum here? And we see that this is 290. And so ultimately here we see that this 290 number, if you bold it, I guess it jumps out at you here. 290 would be the maximum profit. So would it be a profitable endeavor? Well, certainly. We see that we are better off by $56,850 if we introduce a new product, because it will not erode the sales of Royal too much if we price it appropriately. We could make things worse off, and if we charge too low a price, people will run away from our product. So anything under $11.99 and we're made worse off, and anything else from $12.99 above, we're better off. But ultimately, we see that there are some changes here in terms of the overall profitability, and in fact, we see that it is a bit uneven here as we see this fall in terms of going from $15.99 to $16.99. It seems a bit curious, which is why I paused for a second here, is that we lose 5,000 units of Rover Plus, but we only gain 4,000 of Royal. So, we're able to, we're able to gain 4,000 here, as opposed to before when we lost 10,000 units but only gained 1,000 here. So we see a sort of a spike in profit there, going from $15.99 to $16.99. So in any event, what we want to do is we want to, we could combine this in terms of our total revenue number. You could, on a traditional income statement, the sum of these two in columns E and F would be our total revenue number, and our total cost number would be the sum of columns G and H. So ultimately, Rover Plus, by introducing the less expensive alternative, is able to increase its profits. In total, selling 41,000 bags of dog food instead of the 26,000 that it had before.